And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse, where are Heather? We'll find out where she is in a moment. And yours truly, Robert Reich. Heather, where are you? Where are you today?
I'm in Santa Barbara because the film The Last Class has been showing all over the place, and I came to do a Q&A yesterday, and 700 people attended the screening of the film The Last Class about your last semester of teaching. It was
That's
fabulous.
fabulous. Thank you for
It's
doing
one of the
that.
few
But I would
my
love to have you
first of all, my
here
pleasure.
in our studio, in our office here, in my
How about I come
library.
back next week? Next week,
Okay.
and maybe, just maybe, we go to Saul's. Maybe we do something different. I don't know. We'll see how we're feeling.
Okay. But Heather, what's our first of all, how are you? Not only where are you, but how are you?
Well, the seeing the film with all these people and all these young people who are just saying, what do we do? How do we remain active and how do we become activists every day in different ways? I mean, people are just so hungry for hope and hungry to do things and excited about the No Kings protest. So that gives me hope. Other than that, it's grim, my family and you all, my lovely coworkers, but it's grim out there, Bob. You know as well as I do. I
It
mean,
is grim. Of course, I know it.
the
I know it
list.
as well, if not better. I mean,
Oh,
it's. But look at we're going to be upbeat today, right? I
well,
mean, this is
we
this
can
is
we,
an upbeat
there
conversation,
might be some
and
ups
a
and
lot of people.
downs.
Well, the ups and downs, but let me just say, I think one of the themes for this week is I'm calling it the reveal, the great reveal, because Trump has shown himself. Now, every week he shows more and more, but this past week he has shown himself as the authoritarian, dictator, fascist, you use whatever words you're comfortable with, but certainly not a president of a democracy. And this is, I mean, people are catching on, Heather. I've talked with, people who I actually know and talk with, Republicans and even some Trumpers. And a lot of people are very upset by what he is doing in terms of sending troops to, Illinois and trying to get the troops into Portland, Oregon, and targeting his enemies and going after any liberal organization. I mean, this is the stuff that is. It starts with Jimmy Kimmel a couple of weeks ago, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds, and people can't take it.
But
They
your point
understand it.
is that the worse he is, the more egregious, the more horrific that people are waking up and saying, this, he's gone too far. So there is a line
Yeah, that's
and
right.
he's crossing it.
That's right. Exactly. This is not, people begin to see, even if they are Republicans and even if they are sort of voted for Trump, they're beginning to see that this is not about Republican versus Democrat or right versus left. This fundamentally is about whether you want to live in a democracy, where we are safe as individuals, or whether you want to live in a system, again, call it a dictatorship, whatever you want to call it, that is not a democracy, where each of us is vulnerable. None of us is safe. And that's what's happening. People are beginning to get that reality, that everybody is now vulnerable to this Trump machine.
But what is he up to? Because you and I have talked about, so on the one hand, it's whims, it's Truth Social, there's no plan, there's no policy, there's no rigor and gravity, and intellect behind it all. And then on the other hand, it's what is he doing with all of these troops, with the ICE agents? What is there something around the Insurrection Act that's going to happen?
I
Please tell
think I
us.
think there is a very specific plan. I think it was hatched by Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance and even Russell Vogt, the troika that sits around Trump and does the thinking for him. But I think what they want to do is basically eliminate democracy. That's been the purpose all along. But what they now feel like is that they have an opportunity to do that. And it starts with the deployment of ICE and trying to do it in such a way that people are outraged, and people should be outraged. I mean, what ICE is doing is going into apartment buildings and grabbing men, women, and children, some of whom are here legally, completely legally. This goes back to the theme of it could be you. It could be you next, and it's going and ICE is taking people and disappearing them, and doing so many things that are so antithetical to what we in the United States believe in. But the demonstrations themselves that are a natural response to what ICE is doing are being used as a pretext for bringing in the National Guard, for bringing in federal troops. And Trump started to do that with Washington, D.C., and then he tried to do it and has done it to some extent in Portland, Oregon.
And that's part of it, too,
then,
right? Chicago, these are Democrat cities. These are blue cities.
Democratic. That's right. Democratic cities. They are cities with Democratic governors, Democratic mayors, and they are cities that are going to be very critical in the 2026 election, which is part of the plan. You know, you intimidate people in those cities. You put troops on the street in those cities. So people make, they say, well, should I actually vote? Should I actually, maybe it's a little bit too dangerous. That's what they want. But the Insurrection Act is part of the plan. The Insurrection Act, Heather, it goes back to 1807. I mean, it's an old law that has been used very, very rarely, but it allows a president to use the National Guard and also the Army in the United States, federal troops in the United States when things are completely out of control.
But what was it designed for? It wasn't designed for some Democrat cities, right? Where a president was exaggerating about what was happening on the ground.
In 1807, I don't think there were Democrat cities. It was designed for putting down only when governors and mayors and the officials that are normally in charge could not handle it. Putting down essentially real uprisings. But you see, the irony here is the most recently it has been used for, it's been used for, when there were uprisings and riots in certain cities. It was used, I remember as a young person when during the civil rights movement, it was used, federal troops going into places like Alabama, but there were Alabama National Guard. They were federalized, but they were Alabama National Guard. The notion of actually taking troops or federal or people from the state of Texas, National Guard from the state of Texas, and putting them into Chicago when the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois don't want those troops. This is new. I mean, this starts to resemble what we saw in 1860. The beginnings of a civil war. I'm not saying we're going toward a civil war, but you have to see this in the large context. I mean, this is beyond outrageous, and a lot of people are catching on. They're saying, "What?"
And at the same time, he's doing the hyper exaggeration. He on Truth Social, the news media around him, his colleagues all over the internet making AI videos, and it reminds me. Remember when we watched all the debates together? And he would, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. And that became this meme. And it was like, no, they're not eating the dogs. But they're eating the dogs is the name of his PR and marketing play. I mean, everything's exaggerated, right?
And the equivalent right now is Portland is burning. Right. I mean, down to the ground. Chicago is out of control. There are riots all over Chicago. And of course, these are lies. These are propagandistic lies. He is lying. This is not news that he is lying. I mean, as you just pointed out, this is Trump. But the people around him are also lying. His troika is lying. Pam Bondi is lying about what is happening in these cities. So they're trying to get the public to back him. But it is hard for the public to back him when average people who are in Chicago say, what?
Right.
I mean, nothing's happening here.
No, but there have been some court rulings, right? I mean, so this is, I feel like in the dam holding back Trump and all of what he is doing and represents. In the dam are some incredible logs. This is a terrible metaphor. That are these court rulings, right? A few courts are saying, hold on those troops, please. We're not doing that yet.
Well, this and a lot of the court, I mean, the district court judge in Portland, Oregon, is a Trump appointee, and she said, no, you can't do this. This is unconstitutional, or it's a very high probability of being found unconstitutional. So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to block it for now. And we saw something similar with regard to the troops moving into Chicago. It's now being appealed, and Trump is going to appeal all of these things, obviously. But the courts are, particularly the district courts and to some extent the courts of appeals, are holding this back because it's patently unconstitutional. It goes way beyond the powers that the Constitution grants in Article 2 to a president. But the Supreme Court, I mean, let's face it, Heather, the Supreme Court is pretty open to Trump. I mean, if it ever gets to the Supreme Court may say, yeah, sure, you want to use the Insurrection Act? Well, it's the presidential discretion. He's the commander in chief. I don't know. I would like to think that the courts, all the courts, including the Supreme Court, have enough integrity in terms of their constitutional responsibility. But I can't say that about the Supreme Court.
I know.
Can you?
No, I can't either. But we do continue to point out these Trump-appointed judges or Reagan-appointed judges who are saying things. Now, I know, did you see this week the National Governors Association, which is not an association that's on the front page every week? It's just all the governors in their association trying to get their jobs done, stay, in sync. So basically, Governor Newsom and Governor Pritzker said, hello, we got to say something here as the governors of these states. I mean, what this troops from one state going into another state, we need to have a position on this. And so the head of this group is an outgoing Republican governor from Oklahoma. And
from Oklahoma.
Right. And he basically said Oklahomans would lose their mind if Illinois sent troops into this state. So it's interesting to see what you said is, are we at a breaking point? I mean, I don't know yet, but you are seeing people who are saying this doesn't fly. This doesn't fly for me.
They're saying what is evident to everybody. The emperor has no clues. This is nuts. This is absolutely crazy. We should never be here. We shouldn't be sending troops, National Guard troops, from one state into another state when the governors and the mayors don't want them. How have we come to this? How have we ever come to this? And of course, at the base is Donald Trump, and he's losing it. That's the other sub theme here, Heather. There's more and more evidence that he is, suffering dementia. I mean, this is not meant as a criticism of him. This is a description of what is happening to him. J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, said exactly this. He said that we have a president who is suffering from dementia. He's losing
and becoming more unhinged. He used the word unhinged.
Becoming more unhinged.
And we saw that Trump sent out a Truth Social to the world that then the Washington Post says was meant to be a direct message, a DM to Pam Bondi. But instead, he sent it to everyone. I mean, there are these examples of him doing these oopsies, but
oopsies. Well, they're bigger than oopsies.
Right, but
did you see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but did you see? By the way, I mean, on September 30th, he talks to the troops. We've talked about him talking to the troops, or I'm talking to the generals, the top brass of the military. But actually, I looked at that. I got a tape of him talking to the top brass of the military.
Bomb?
Well, I mean, it was a clip, but it's staggering how incoherent he is. It's beyond any incoherence I have seen, and he's been very incoherent before, but this is way beyond where he has been before.
I know, and he kind of covers it up with humor. He covers it up with, trailing off with one-liners. It's interesting to watch the kind of deflection and the way he's handling it, because he's on camera all the time because it's his favorite thing to do is be in the spotlight. But so at the same time that we have this horrendousness happening in terms of troops being sent, ICE being sent in, it's almost too overwhelming to talk about again. Then we have him going after his political enemies.
Yeah, and Letitia James, I just want to put this in context. Letitia James is considered by Trump as one of his political enemies because she prosecuted Trump and got a victory in New York. She is the Attorney General of New York State. He is now indicted. He's got his Justice Department to indict the Attorney General of New York State. He couldn't get the U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia to do it. That U.S. Attorney just resigned, said there wasn't enough evidence. So he put in somebody else. He found somebody who would finally do his bidding. No other prosecutors in that office are helping her. She did the grand jury completely alone because because some people have integrity.
And she,
he
Bob,
finally found.
She has no prosecutorial experience. Lindsay Halligan. I mean, no prosecutorial experience.
Well, let me just say, like Rudy Giuliani, when he had his bar membership revoked, I hope that's in her future too. Because if you're just basically saying, I will do anything because I'm loyal to Donald Trump, I'm loyal to the President of the United States, the President of the United States wants me to rip up the Constitution, and I will do that for him. Well, I don't deserve to be certainly have my law license, my own. I have a loyalty. I should have a loyalty to the United States. That should transcend my loyalty to Donald Trump. But here she is. She's going after Letitia James. She had gone after James Comey, another so-called Trump, enemy. And who's in line? Adam Schiff. The California senator is also in line. I mean, Trump says that he wants to go after Schiff as well. So you've got all of these Trump enemies.
But it's important to note that the cases that are being built are very thin, right? Very shallow is what I'm understanding. I mean, I'm not a lawyer.
Shallow, thin. They're not even. In fact, they're not even there. You put them up to the light, you can see through them. There is almost nothing there. Letitia James was something on a housing loan application, and the allegation is that she didn't sign it correctly, and she was fraudulent, and that sum total of her benefit that she got was $18,000. $18,000. You're suing the Attorney General of the state of New York. And you're using your own hand-picked person in the Justice Department to do that, and you're trumping up, a charge. Well, I think again, the larger theme here is people in the United States see this, and even some Republicans and even some Trumpers are going, "Wait a minute, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is not the kind of country I want to live in. And by the way, it could be me next."
Right. And I mean, we've talked about this, but part of the playbook and part of the game is stoking fear so that everyone is just on eggshells and worried. So we're in this defensive mode and we don't look up and see what's happening right at the top in terms of the wealthy and in terms of the power.
I think this is a very important.
It's so scary.
This is a very important point because the way the press has been treating, Letitia James and Comey is that Trump is looking in the rearview mirror and it's just vengeance about what happened before. No, this is future. What he's doing is he's trying to intimidate people right now. He's trying to set the example. He's saying to people, look, if you cross me, I am going to go after you, just like I went after Letitia James and Comey and others of my enemies. So don't even risk it. This is part of the same playbook. It's part of the same plot. Right. This is the authoritarian playbook.
And then we have Attorney General Pam Bondi, who comes out and says the administration will take the same approach to Antifa, which, by the way, we're not defining, as drug cartels.
Well, and the approach the administration has taken to drug cartels is what? To bomb them, right?
Yeah, one's in the water.
To treat them as if they are enemy combatants. And is that what Pam Bondi is really thinking? That first of all, who is Antifa? Do you know any members of Antifa? Have you ever seen any members of Antifa?
Carrying? No. But this is what they do, right? It's woke. It's they use these phrases and then they create these these mountains of fear and hatred around them, these ill-defined
It's
concepts.
fear and hate. Exactly. It's fear and hate. And you just say it over and over and over, and you have all of your lackeys uh, and 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 enablers around you in the White House and in the cabinet say the same thing over and over and over again. We have this enemy within. We have an enemy within. And who is the enemy within? It turns out the enemy within cannot even be defined. It's Trump's personal enemies, or it's liberal groups like the George Soros's foundation. Is that
Right.
part of
And
the
the, and
enemy
the and the
within?
grantees associated with them, and he's saying violence, anyone stoking violence, or kind of the terminology. And
And
he's
how
now
can
saying indivisible.
indivisible? How is indivisible stoking violence? By the way, there is going to be a No King's Day 2 on October 18th, which is next week, next Saturday. And Heather, I hope you are out there. I'm going to be out there. This is not stoking violence. In fact, it's just the opposite, because what I say and what everybody says and what Indivisible keeps saying is, no, this is not violence. These are peaceful protests. And peaceful protest is the key to it. We're not going to play Trump's game. We're not going to fall into his trap. We are going to be utterly peaceful, but we are not going to be intimidated. We're not going to stop our free expression of our views and what we believe. And this is very important that we are actually out there next Saturday.
I agree. And in the meantime, the shutdown continues. What is the latest that you know? Is the House ever coming back? What's happening?
Well, the House will come back. It's going to be the shutdown will continue, and the Republicans, they think that somehow they are going to be able to blame the Democrats for the shutdown.
I mean,
But
they already are
Heather,
online and in videos at the
yes,
airport.
but they'll successfully blame the Democrats. But actually, most people in this country, this goes back again to common sense. They say, wait a minute, the Republicans run the White House. They run both chambers of Congress, the House and the Senate, and for all intents and purposes, they own the Supreme Court. This is the Republican Party's government. This is the Republican Party's example of how they can govern, and most people are not thinking about, the Democrats have got to give 7 votes to overcome a filibuster in the Senate. Blah, 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 blah. No, the common sense approach is you guys can't. You are incapable of governing, and that's exactly the truth. This is going to hurt. It already is. All of the polls show the shutdown is hurting Republicans far more than it's hurting Democrats.
And you saw that Speaker Johnson had to backtrack in terms of back pay, that they were not going to give federal workers back pay, and there was too much heat on that. It was politically untenable.
Well, interesting. Trump was the one who first said we're not going to give back pay. Now, I want to make sure that everybody understands how this works, because I've been through a lot of shutdowns. People are divided, government workers, into essential and non-essential. Now, that's just for the bare bones keeping the government going. That's not for delivering all of the services that everybody needs. It's just bare bones, essential and non-essential. What the Republicans are saying is, well, if you're essential, that's nice, but if you're not essential, why should you even be paid at all, ever? I mean, why should you even have a government job if you're non-essential? Well, they obviously don't understand it, but nobody, even essential workers, nobody is getting paid. Nobody. So all of these government workers, and believe me, I've been through shutdowns. I've seen the hardship, because 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and they're not being paid.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're an air traffic controller, for example, to take one example, and you're under huge stress, the skies are more crowded than ever before. We're coming up to holiday season, holiday travel. You don't have reinforcements. In fact, you're understaffed already, even before the shutdown, and you're not being paid.
Mm.
And you haven't had a raise in years. I mean, your pay has been absolutely stagnant for years. How many air traffic controllers do you need to just say, the hell with this.
Right.
I'm going to call in sick. How many do you need to create delays? And it's already
Right.
happening.
It's not fair for them to take on the burden. And then you have at the same time, oh, bless you. I sneezed last week on the Klatch. This is incredible.
Well, I did. Thank you.
Wow. Now we're twinsies. Okay, so at the same time as this is happening and we're fighting about healthcare, I mean, allegedly, right? Let's talk about the different strata of what's actually happening with this shutdown and why it's happening and why it's being delayed while Democrats are being blamed for it entirely. But so this $20 billion, right, goes to Argentina to bail them out. $20 billion. At the same time, not to mention that, Secretary Bessent's friends who are running private equity firms and hedge funds are kind of really in favor of this move, by the way.
Well, why do you think we're bailing out Argentina? Exactly because Wall Street wants Argentina bailed out. Bessent is the agent from Wall Street, the ambassador from Wall Street in Washington in the Trump administration. But at the same time, our government is shut down. At the same time, we are not doing things for our people that need to be done. We're bailing out Argentina. I mean, this is part of a broader theme, Heather. You get the Trump administration came in saying, well, we're going to take care of America. We're not going to look abroad. We're not going to
America first.
America first. We're going to take care of Americans. What do we have now? Well, Trump is, he's putting a lot of effort into Israel and Hamas, and he's trying to work on and they're bailing out Argentina and everywhere else in the world. But inside the United States, no, inside the United States, it's not a peace plan. It's a war plan. We're going to war because it's the enemies within the United States that he keeps talking about. It's the enemies within that Pam Bondi is focusing on, and all of the U.S. attorneys are going after. And I mean, it's such an irony. You've got a wartime president in terms of the United States inside the United States, and I think that's part of the absurdity people are now focusing on.
Now, I do want to talk about the ceasefire, but can we talk about the elephant in the room? I don't know what we call it. Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, as long as the government is shut down, then we're delaying the vote on the Epstein file. I mean, we can't, there's too much going on over here. Don't look, deflect. That is significant, isn't it?
It's hugely significant because Trump voters really care about this Epstein business. And if Trump is involved, they want to know. There's a discharge petition in Congress right now, in the House. It needs one more vote. And that starts a process that forces the House to vote on getting the Epstein files. And that one vote is coming it is already committed from the new House member from the 7th District in Arizona.
Yes.
But she hasn't been sworn in.
Grijalva. She can't be sworn in. They're on recess. There's a shutdown. It's like,
well, I mean, Michael Johnson said we can't possibly swear in. He says, but he did say to the 2 Arizona senators, I'll swear her in when you end the shutdown. Now, these 2 Arizona senators are obviously Democrats. So is he using her as a bargaining chit to get the...
Is it bargaining chit or is it bargaining chip?
I think it's bargaining shit.
No. Someone can put it in the comments.
But what's really happening here is that you have this discharge petition, and ultimately, what Michael Johnson and Trump are scared of is that they're going to have to reveal everything in the Epstein files, all the client lists, and this is hanging over the administration. This is hanging over Trump and Michael Johnson,
right?
And you can bet that a lot of what we're seeing is a deflection.
So, Bob, ceasefire. I mean, it has been years. It has been horrific. And I'm picturing all of these civilians walking north, trying to find, is your home still in existence? Probably not. I mean, this time we're living in. And Trump, of course, is talking about going to a press event where hostages are returned. I mean, he's making it about himself. Now, this should have.
Are you surprised that he's making it
No,
about
but
himself?
I mean, it's so typical. It's
But
shockingly typical.
look at, if he does bring this off. I mean, remember, this is
Very fresh.
a huge issue, and if he does bring this off, and we get a ceasefire, and we get a new kind of coalition government of Arab countries that are going to be a new government for basically Gaza, that's a big deal. I mean, let's give him some credit. But will he pull it off? And Netanyahu doesn't have an interest in ending this war, because that means he is going to probably be deposed. He's probably going to be, his right-wing cabinet and his right-wing people are. He's going to lose. So he doesn't want this war to end. I think it's an interesting time in the Middle East right now. But guess what? Donald Trump did not get the Nobel Peace Prize that he's been coveting.
I mean, what is forget it. Why are we even meeting? This is what?
I mean, he renames the Defense Department the Department of War, and he wonders why he didn't get the Peace Prize.
Peaceful guy.
And wait till, I mean, people in Norway are wondering what's the revenge? What's going to happen?
Know.
How is he going to get back at us now?
Oh gosh, I know. I can't.
And I mean, he won the Peace Prize because Barack Obama got the Peace Prize.
Bob, this is middle school. That sentence. I mean, all the sentences during. By the way, I love having coffee with you. Thank God for this, because I don't know, and thank you everyone else for joining us. Because if you weren't here to help break it down and think about the bigger context, and you. Well, I show up for you.
I think that you are in Santa Barbara. I wish you were here, but thank you for showing the film and kind of getting people upbeat, because the film is very upbeat.
It's upbeat, but it's not, sanguine, and it's not everything's fine. It's really not. It's somber, but it's ultimately hopeful. And so this week we went to UC Berkeley. We had the Cal premiere of this film about Professor Reich's final semester, which took place at UC Berkeley, and we showed it at UC Berkeley. And this phenomenal undergraduate division of education said, we want this film. And we brought it in, and 2,000 people showed up. And we had so many, I don't know if we can find any clips, Michael, but we had so many students say afterwards, I am reinvigorated. I care about public education.
Coming and seeing this film was really inspirational, especially as undergrads who go here. I think seeing the possibility and the inspiration that education, especially public education, can have on the future generations like us was amazing to watch. So I really appreciated coming to this film.
Yeah, so we were in his last class, and it was the most impactful class I've ever experienced in my life. We're seniors now at UC Berkeley, and this community has changed us forever, and Robert Reich is really the symbol of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's just refreshing to kind of be reminded that you're not even though within Berkeley, I think sometimes you can get kind of bogged down within things because you're constantly fighting against things. So I think it was kind of refreshing to see that is still not just with the students, but then also with older generations as well. So
I feel the exact same feeling as the very last moments of his last lecture, where I felt empowered and I felt so capable. I felt so inspired.
I'm so blessed to have a community, and I think that through Robert's teaching, and honestly what I think he stood for was teaching people, I think collectivity, and the collectivity I have here today is what we need in the future. And I think this film really brings hope into that, especially as we are all undergraduates. I think it's a great thing for our time right now.
Thank you, Robert Reich.
Thank you, Robert Reich.
And you had a conversation with W. Kamau Bell. Kamau is
But
electric.
Kamau Bell he's fabulous.
so
I mean,
great.
he's a good friend, and he just he's just he doesn't have much. How can I say this? He is so clever. He's so smart. He's able to think so fast about these fundamental issues, and yet he doesn't have such a big ego. I mean, so he is able to have a conversation in front of 2,000 people, and
which is also hilarious. And then he says to you, what's the homework? What's the homework, Professor? What homework are you giving these 2,000 people? And you said, be an activist, basically, right?
Yeah, I said, yes, that's what I say to everybody. I mean, what I say to all of you watching us at home. I mean, these are days where if you are feeling stressed and despairing and just unhappy and worried, and who isn't? The best antidote to that is to be an activist, to get out there, to even in small ways. You don't have to spend every day as an activist, but even in small ways, writing letters to the editor and calling your members of Congress and causing good trouble, and on October 18th getting out there and holding signs in your local community, and protecting the vulnerable, having a sanctuary community. I mean, there are all sorts of things that people can do, you can do, but it makes you feel good too. It's not just that it's good for your community and good for the country. It's also good for you, and it's just a reminder that, as we say over and over again, democracy is not a spectator sport. Democracy needs you. And now that we're at a phase of the Trump regime, it's only been 9 months.
I can't get over that.
I mean, we have another 39 to go. I mean, I laugh, but I laugh out of really sadness and irony. But if this has happened in 9 months, and so many people are beginning to see that they and their families could be directly affected, not because they're Latino or because they are LGBTQ plus or anything else, but it could be that they are a white straight male, and they could also be caught up in this dragnet.
I love that this is what it takes. It's like Kamau was kind of talking about that. It took Jimmy Kimmel. It took Jimmy Kimmel for us, that he was the litmus test. Like that guy who would have been fine. I mean, I agree with you, but it's a horrific time what it's taking for so many of us to pay attention and wake up. And I do think that one reason people are going to see the film, if you haven't seen it, thelastclassfilm.com, is because coming together.
Is that the last class film, all one word.com?
Yes, you're good at it. But so people coming together, and this one man, Kai Boyd, who runs one of the theaters we showed the film in, he said he talks about there's the home, and there's the work, and there's a third place. And the third place is your community spots. It's your movie theater. It's your synagogue. It's your local coffee shop, which happens to be you're my local coffee shop. But this notion that to remind ourselves of what solidarity feels like, there's something about being in community. And I think that's why peaceful protests, where you're meeting new people and there are QR codes out there and you're scanning, what is this group doing and what is this group doing? It gives some buoyancy when everything is so heavy and you feel like, and it is a slog. And so 3 cheers for getting together with people in person, like-minded, otherwise, and moving forward, because we can't stop.
Well, 3 cheers for you, Heather, for the movie, for every one of you out there who is engaging in solidarity. It is through solidarity that we gain confidence. And as we gain confidence, we gain courage. And as we gain courage, we gain the ability to stand up to this regime and the authoritarianism and the if you like to use that word, fascism behind that authoritarianism, and the oligarchs who are behind the fascism, behind the authoritarianism, we can stand up to it because there are many more of us than there are of them. And we are all united in our view and our values and our understandings of the importance of democracy and the rule of law and social justice. And we don't want to live in a country in which any one of us can be pulled out of our houses late at night and arrested on the basis of nothing other than Donald Trump's whims. So thank you. And thank you, Heather, for everything.
Thank you, Bob.
And Michael Lahanas Calderon, thank you for being behind the scenes today, right over there. And Jordan Alport, thank you. And thank everybody who is involved. There's just a wonderful team. But mostly you watching, thank you. Your tenacity and your values and your, I know it's hard to find them sometimes, your optimism will get us through. Take care.